it's a Monday morning video. We've been working all weekend doing a retreat and it was beautiful, but I thought I'd better make a video to keep the momentum going and to support anybody who's on the path of undoing themselves. So I figured what I could speak about is, and I wrote a poem about this. I was going to read it yesterday, but I didn't. And I can't remember the poem now, but I know that what it alluded to, and I might have spoken about this before in a video, but let's keep going over and over it doesn't really matter. When truth enters us, it is like a medicine, and it heals something in us. But first, it stirs up all the poison. And these, 2 or 3 lines, I think, speak to it really well. To this journey, that we describe, that maybe you're on. What does it mean when truth enters us? Well, maybe we catch a glimpse, or maybe the suffering has reached a threshold where something is starting to break open in us. Maybe we've read something in a spiritual book, maybe we've had an epiphany. Maybe we've looked inside and seen something kind of more truthful than the stories that we weave or the narratives that we tell ourselves, and all the defensive structures and strategies we carry around the world. So it's that is truth. It may not be a coherent version of truth, whatever that means, because truth is not a coherent thing anyway. There's a mental realization. It might be a philosophy, but it's not actually what I talk about, what we talk about, because truth is a living unfoldment. Truth is the way you meet life, every moment, every day, all interactions, every encounter. All of our doing is either rooted in a truth, or in some ways rooted in falsehood, because of the veil that we have come to believe is us. And that means the strategies, the beliefs, the very foundations of this almost false self that we carry around, the defended self. And truth is a kind of, cutting through all of that. Truth is a light. Somehow it might be love, it might be light. It's like something bright that shines upon us and enters us, enters our energetic domain. Hold on one second. So the light of truth, let's call it the light. There's a vision of light. It enters us, enters our energetic body, our energetic beingness. It goes into us somehow. Well, by and by, over a period of time, it's going to start the process of healing things that are fragmented, of healing things that are somehow broken, avoided, held in darkness, missed, buried inside, in the shadow bag, all of this kind of stuff that I talk about on this channel perennially, all the time. But first, it's going to stir up all the poison. That's what happens. That's what it is. That's what gets released. That's what happens when you open a Pandora's box. When you open Pandora's box, it's like, it's going to heal because it releases what's in the box. But first, it brings up everything that is not like itself. Love, when it reveals light, when it reveals what's in the shadows, it brings up everything that is unlike itself. And all that really means is there's a belief, we've lived a belief in a belief that, that's good, that's a good side of me, or that's what I want, and that's not, that's a dark side, I can't deal with that. Understandable, some of the experience of being human is very difficult and very painful, But as your devotion is to the light that is entering you, the love that is entering you, the awareness that is entering you, then it starts to reveal everything that has been held in the shadows, and that causes pain. There's no two ways about it. It can cause pain, and we don't want pain, and that's why we're on the path so often, is to actually avoid the pain. But the pain is the doorway, how we meet the pain, the recognition that healing, if you want to call it that, the movement of the spiritual journey does involve a certain amount of healing what feels broken, of healing what feels divided, of healing some of the ideas of separation, certainly the ideas that we've carried around about ourselves, mostly all our lives. You know, all of that, as it starts to kind of get stirred up, hurts on a certain level. But I always say the pain of releasing is much better than the pain of holding on. There are two types of pain, and the pain of releasing is cathartic and actually restructuring and healing. But the pain of holding on, you know, tends to either create this kind of stuckness within us, or else it seeks to almost push it further away. And we meet a lot of human beings who've pushed their pain further and further and further away, to the point where it's offline completely. It's inaccessible. Gone. But it hasn't really gone, has it? You know, it's in there, still kind of living, if you like. It's like this is the you know, one of the root beliefs of the more natural healing modalities, like Ayurveda. You know, in Ayurveda, whatever you put inside, if you like, that the body can't assimilate and detoxify, take the nutrients out of it and detoxify it back out, the process of digestion, absorption and elimination. If there's an antagonist in the system that can't be dealt with in that way, then it stores it somewhere. It actually stores the toxin, let's say, in the liver system. And there it will sit, but it doesn't just sit inertly. It's like it's sort of a grit. It can grow into tumours, it can grow into illness, it can be a cause of inflammation. And if there's enough of it building up over time, it does cause. That's the nature of Ayurveda. Well, not the nature of Ayurveda, but that's what it points to a lot, is the build-up over time of these insults, of these toxins, of these things that the body system, which is supremely intelligent, actually can't really deal with. That's the same. That's what I'm talking about in many ways. Yeah, in childhood, in youth, we bury emotions that can't be dealt with. We bury the insults, and rightly as well, because we need to survive. And then those insults, can turn into all sorts of things, of toxic behaviors, and of course addictions and all sorts of behavioral functions, that get us through this life. But meanwhile, everything that's been buried, it aggravates. It causes certain inflammation, emotional inflammation, or mental inflammation, or just energetic inflammation, if you want to call it that. And that aggravates the system. So it's not what we bury is not just inert. It's very much seeking to get to the light. Everything wants to come home. Everything wants to get to the light. And so there it is. There's when we expose ourselves to the light in some way, then we're doing ourselves a great service. It's a great grace to do this to oneself, for oneself. It's a great service to do that. But it does cause pain, because the light heals us, but first it stirs up all the poison. The poison is not a bad word, because the poison is the healing. Yeah, the exposure, the release of the poison disturbs the whole of us and sends us sometimes spiraling, sometimes into this mood because everything's coming up, sometimes into this dark place. You know, but it's all coming up for good reason, because release is better than suppression. Release of our darkness is better than the suppression of our darkness. But it takes courage and it takes guts, and it certainly takes a kind of the reason I'm making this is to facilitate understanding. Is to facilitate if you recognize some of that in you, and it's painful in you, trust it, embrace it, love it. Love the pain as it comes up, as the release comes up. Yeah, release is far more healing than suppression. Release of what we've buried over the years is far more healing than the suppression of it. And now, you know, we're in the times where this can happen. Yeah, it's the time of courage, my friend. It's the time of courage to face our darkness, individual and collective. Collective is a slightly different thing, but it's still only really made up of the individuals. And I would say in the intensity of the times that we live in, and we are living in some intense times, and next year in 2025 it's going to get more intense, I believe. We're not over this. Things are happening on the collective level. And one of the ways to be able to cope with the insanity in the world and the drama in the world and the fear in the world is to resolve that within ourselves to the best of our capacity, to become more unshakable. And the only real way to become unshakable is to root out and shine the light of love and the light of beingness and the light of awareness on our own darkness, and to bear it as everything that we've denied comes up for healing. That's a great service, and that's a great journey. That journey is the journey of life. Many thanks. Bless you today.